The night sky above the alien world of Clayara was full of silent storms. Purple lightning flashed across the clouds, but no sound followed. The human engineer, Daniel Cross, stood at the landing ramp of his small ship. He stared at the dark palace in the distance. It looked alive, as if carved from black crystal, sharp towers pointing at the sky like claws. Daniel was not here as a traveler, not as a soldier. He was here for one job, one secret mission. The alien king had summoned him across light years. No one explained why a single human was needed, but whispers followed him since he landed. The human doctor, the human tinkerer, the one who fixes the broken. 2 alien guards with long spears stood waiting. Their skin was silver blue, their eyes glowing faintly in the dark. They said nothing. They only gestured for him to follow. Daniel walked with calm steps, but his heart was heavy. He could feel their suspicion, their hatred. Humans were not trusted here. The palace gates opened with a deep groan, as if stone itself breathed. Inside, everything was shadow and firelight. Tall figures watched him from balconies, whispering words in their own language. Daniel did not understand, but he felt their meaning. Outsider, dangerous, unclean. At the end of the hall, the throne awaited. The alien king sat upon it, wearing armor that shimmered like liquid metal. His crown was not gold, but sharp bone, curved and jagged. His voice filled the hall, deep and echoing. Human. Daniel bowed slightly. Your Majesty, you were called for one reason, the king said. My daughter. She was born blind. No healer of our kind, no scientist of the stars could change her fate. If you fail, you will not leave this palace alive. Daniel raised his eyes. He had heard these words before on other worlds from desperate rulers, but here in this hall of enemies the threat was heavier. He simply nodded. Then I will not fail. A rustle moved through the hall. From behind the throne, a young figure stepped forward. She wore a veil of silver threads that covered her face, and 2 servants guided her by the arms. Her steps were slow but graceful. Even in her weakness, she carried dignity. The princess. Daniel felt the weight of the moment. She could not see him. She had never seen light, never seen her father's face, never seen the stars above her world. To her, existence was only sound, touch, and memory. The king's voice broke the silence. You are our last chance. The council fears your kind. They say humans play with life, twisted into machines. They say you bring curses. Daniel's voice was calm, almost gentle. We do not bring curses. We bring hope. But hope always has a price. The hall grew colder. The guards tightened their grip on their spears. The princess tilted her head slightly, as if listening closer than anyone else. Her voice was soft, almost a whisper. Human. Will it hurt? Daniel looked at her. For a moment, the hall of enemies disappeared. There was only her question, her fear. He spoke softly, with honesty. Yes, it may hurt. But pain is the door to sight. And once it opens, you will see everything. Her hands trembled, but she nodded. Then, let me see. The king raised his hand. Take her to the chamber. The human will begin. The servants led the princess down a side passage, and Daniel followed. The chamber was deep underground, filled with strange machines, both human and alien. Daniel had brought his own case, small silver, locked with codes that only he knew. Inside it were the implants, the forbidden human technology that many empires feared. As the door closed, the sound of the palace above faded. Only the chamber lights glowed. Daniel placed the case on the table, his hands steady but his mind racing. He knew the truth. If this worked, he would save her, but he might also ignite something far greater than healing. He opened the case. Inside lay 2 small devices shaped like drops of crystal, glowing faint blue. They were not just machines. They were alive, made from human-grown nanotech. They would not only give her sight, they would change her forever. The princess sat on the chair, her veil removed. Her eyes were pale and empty like frozen glass. She turned her face toward his voice. Is it time? Yes, Daniel said. It begins now. He lifted one implant, its glow reflecting in her blank eyes. For a moment he hesitated. This was not just science. This was the future of 2 species colliding. He knew the aliens feared humans because of things like this. A gift that looked like a weapon. A miracle that could start a war. Still, he pressed forward. Close your eyes, she obeyed. He leaned closer, hands steady, placing the glowing implant near her temple. The device hummed, alive, reaching for her nerves. She gasped, her body stiff. The second implant followed, attaching on the other side. Her body shook. She gripped the chair tightly, her breath sharp. Then, silence. Daniel stepped back, waiting. The implants pulsed with light, sending threads of energy across her face. Slowly, her eyelids opened. For the first time in her life, light entered her mind. Her lips parted. She took a deep, trembling breath. The princess whispered a single word filled with wonder. Stars. And in that moment, Daniel knew everything had changed. The chamber was silent after the princess spoke her first word. Stars. But silence did not mean safety. Outside in the great hall above, voices were already rising. Some shouted that the human was a miracle worker. Others hissed that he was a deceiver, a trickster. The air of the palace was full of fear and suspicion. Daniel Cross, the human engineer, knew this was only the beginning. Healing the princess was not just about science, it was about survival. If he failed now, he would not live to leave this planet. The implants inside the princess were alive. They were connecting, stitching themselves into her nerves, fusing with her brain. At first, the light that entered her eyes was weak, blurry, like looking through fog. She blinked many times, confused, struggling to understand what sight even meant. Her voice shook as she whispered, "So many colors. They hurt, they are too strong." Daniel knelt in front of her, speaking gently. "Do not fight it. Let the light in. Your mind is learning something new, something it never knew before. It is painful now, but it will become beautiful." Her hands gripped the armrests tightly. The chair creaked under the pressure of her strength. A low hum filled the chamber as the implants worked deeper. Strange symbols of light flickered across her eyes, glowing faintly for a moment before fading. The two alien servants in the corner gasped. One muttered, "It is sorcery." Unnatural. Daniel ignored them. He focused only on her. He had seen this before, the birth of sight in the blind. But this was different. The implants were not ordinary tools. They were the most advanced human creation, banned by galactic law because they could do more than heal. They could evolve. The princess cried out suddenly. Her body shook and her head fell forward. Daniel caught her before she slipped from the chair. Her eyes rolled back, glowing faint blue. For a second, he feared she was lost. But then her breathing slowed. Her body grew calm again. Daniel whispered, almost to himself, "She is adjusting. She will survive." The door slammed open. Heavy boots echoed on the stone floor. Alien guards entered, their spears glowing with electric fire. The king himself stepped into the chamber, his cloak sweeping across the ground. His eyes burned with both fear and hope. "What is happening, human?" the king demanded. Daniel stayed calm. "Her mind is learning sight. The implants are alive. They will build connections. It takes time." The king's hand gripped the hilt of his sword. "If she dies—" "She will not die," Daniel interrupted firmly. His voice was steady, almost cold. "But if you stop me now, if you pull her away, you will lose her forever." The hall grew tense. The guards shifted nervously, unsure whether to trust the outsider. The king's face hardened. Finally, he lowered his hand. "Continue. But know this, her life is worth more than yours 1,000 times over." Daniel returned to his work. The implants pulsed again, brighter this time. The princess's eyes opened wide. She gasped as she focused on the torches burning in the chamber. For the first time, firelight reflected in her gaze. She whispered, "It moves. It dances, like a spirit." Daniel smiled faintly. "That is flame. That is light itself." Tears slid down her cheeks as she tried to take it all in. She turned her head slowly, her new vision shaky, but every movement filled with wonder. She looked at her father, the king, for the very first time. Her lips trembled. "Father, your face," she whispered. "I can see you." The mighty king, feared by galaxies, froze. His mouth opened slightly, but no words came out. His armor gleamed in the torchlight, and for the first time in his long life, he looked fragile. His daughter had never spoken those words before. The servants fell to their knees. The guards lowered their weapons. Even the king's silence was heavier than any roar, but not everyone was pleased. From the doorway, an elder of the council stepped forward, robes trailing across the floor. His voice was sharp like a blade. "This is forbidden. Human technology and royal blood? You have broken the law of the stars. If the other empires learn of this, war will come." Daniel stood tall. "She has been healed. Would you rather she remain in darkness forever?" The elder's eyes glowed with anger. Better blindness than cursed human machines inside her head. The princess raised her voice, soft but strong. "No, I choose sight. I will not go back." The council elder turned to the king. "If you allow this, you risk everything. Our enemies will use this against us." The king's jaw tightened. He said nothing, torn between his counsel and his daughter. Daniel knew the danger. He had seen this before, when hope became fear, when miracles became weapons. But it was too late now. The implants were alive inside her. They could not be removed without killing her. The princess slowly rose from her chair. Her steps were unsteady, but her eyes shone bright. She looked at the torches, the stone walls, the guards, the king, the elder, and finally at Daniel. Her gaze held his for a long moment. And then she spoke with a quiet certainty that silenced the room. "I can see. And because of this human, I will never be the same. None of us will." The chamber grew still. Outside, thunder rolled across the alien skies. Somewhere far away, deep in space, warships began to move. The chamber was quiet, but not with peace. It was the silence before a storm. The princess stood trembling, her new eyes open wide, drinking in every detail around her. For the first time in her life, she could see the world that had always been hidden. Her breath shook as she stared at the torchlight. Flames danced golden and red, shadows twisting along the stone walls. She gasped softly and whispered, "It is alive. It is alive with light." Daniel Cross, the human engineer, stepped closer. His voice was calm, guiding her like a steady hand. "That is fire. It gives light and heat, something your people have always felt. But now you can see it." The princess blinked rapidly, her mind racing to keep up with the storm of new images. She turned toward the guards. Their silver-blue skin shimmered in the glow. Their armor reflected the flames. For the first time, she could see the fear in their eyes. "Faces," she whispered, reaching out. "So many faces. Shapes, colors, lines. I never knew they could hold so much." Her father, the king, stepped forward slowly. His tall frame shook as she looked at him. Her lips trembled. "Father, you are strong like a mountain. Your eyes, they shine." The mighty warrior who had led armies into battle felt his throat tighten. His hands, which had never shaken in war, now trembled before his daughter's gaze. He turned away, hiding his face, but not before Daniel noticed the shine of tears in his eyes. The council elder hissed sharply, "This is wrong. This is human trickery. Remove the implants before the galaxy hears of this blasphemy." But the princess raised her voice, soft yet full of fire. "No, I will not return to darkness. You cannot take this from me." The chamber vibrated with tension. Half the council saw a miracle. The other half saw a curse. Daniel knew this moment was fragile. One wrong word could turn triumph into death. He raised his hands gently. "Listen to her. She has chosen sight. This is not my power, it is hers now. The implants are alive. They cannot be removed. They are part of her. She is the miracle, not me." The princess slowly stepped away from the chair, unsteady but determined. She walked across the chamber, each movement filled with awe. She touched the stone wall, tracing its rough surface with her fingers, then pulling her hand back to look at the dust left on her skin. "It is strange," she said softly. "I always felt the world. Now I can see it too. I never knew it could be so full." Her words melted some of the suspicion in the room. A guard lowered his spear. One of the servants wept quietly, whispering prayers. Even the council elder could not hide the spark of wonder in his eyes, though his mouth stayed twisted with anger. But Daniel noticed something the others did not. The implants glowed faintly, brighter than before. A pattern of blue light flickered across her temples, pulsing with her heartbeat. It was subtle, hidden unless one knew what to look for. He frowned. The implants were not only giving her sight, they were evolving faster than expected. The princess suddenly turned toward Daniel. Her eyes, still glowing faintly, locked on him. "You," she said, voice trembling. "You are different. I can see. Threads of light around you." Daniel froze. She should not be able to see that. The implants were adapting in ways even he did not fully understand. "What do you mean?" he asked carefully. "There are colors around you," she whispered. "Not like the flames, they move. Like a river, flowing through your body. I can see it." Murmurs spread through the chamber. The council elder pointed an accusing finger. "See, this is no healing, it is corruption. She sees what no one should see. The human has cursed her with unnatural sight." The king's face hardened, torn between pride and fear. Daniel stepped forward, his voice steady. No curse. No corruption. She is seeing energy itself, something your eyes were never meant to see. But hers can. She is not just healed, she is... More, the room erupted. Some shouted in wonder, others in terror. The elder's voice rose above them all. If the other empires learn of this, they will call it a weapon. They will bring war to our gates. The princess stood tall, her new sight shining like stars. Let them come. I will not live blind to make others comfortable. Her words silenced the room. The firelight flickered across her face, and for a moment, she looked less like a princess and more like a queen. Daniel watched her carefully. He knew the truth. She had crossed a line. The implants had unlocked more than vision. They had given her power. Power that could shake the galaxy. And in that silence, far away beyond the palace walls, the first whispers of war began. Rival empires had already heard rumors of a human miracle. Fleets were preparing. Weapons were arming. The princess turned to her father. Father, I can see now. And what I see is danger coming. The king's hand tightened around his sword. His voice rumbled like thunder. Then we will face it together. Daniel's heart sank. He had given her sight, but he had also opened the door to conflict. A miracle for one world could be the spark for war across the stars. The princess looked at him one last time, her new eyes glowing faintly with hidden power. You have changed everything, human. Nothing will ever be the same again. And in that moment, the miracle became prophecy. The palace was restless. Word of the miracle had already spread through its stone halls and high towers. Servants whispered. Guards argued in corners, and council elders debated with raised voices. Some called it salvation, others called it doom. Deep underground, in the chamber where light first touched her eyes, the princess sat quietly. She stared at the torch flames with endless wonder, but her gaze was not only on fire. Her eyes shifted, glowing faintly, as if they were watching something no one else could see. Daniel Cross stood beside her, checking the readings on his small human device. Lines of data flickered across the screen. His jaw tightened. He knew what it meant. The implants were changing faster than expected. They were not only giving her vision, they were rewriting the way her brain understood reality. The princess broke the silence. Daniel, what am I seeing? The world is not just colors and shapes. There are threads, rivers of light. They flow through everything, stone, air, even people. I can see them. Daniel hesitated. He looked at her carefully, then lowered his voice. You are seeing energy. Life currents. Power hidden from normal eyes. The implants are not simple machines. They are alive, they grow. They evolve with you? Her eyes widened, shimmering blue. Alive? Yes, he said firmly. They are forbidden by galactic law for this reason. Many fear them. To some they are a weapon, not a cure. If others learn what you can see, they will come for you. Before the princess could answer, the heavy doors burst open. The council entered, led by the elder with cold eyes and sharp voice. The king followed, silent but stern. Guards flanked both sides, weapons ready. The elder pointed at Daniel. Human, speak the truth. What have you placed inside the royal bloodline? Daniel met his stare without fear. I gave her sight. But more than that, the implants allow her to see beyond the limits of your kind. The elder's face twisted with anger. Exactly as I warned. This is not healing, it is human corruption. A trick to make her something. Unnatural. The princess rose from her seat, her voice firm. No, this is not corruption. This is freedom. For the first time I can see the stars above my world. For the first time I can see you. Do not call my gift a curse. But the elder's words struck like poison. If the other empires hear of this, they will not call it a gift. They will call it a weapon. They will demand her death or war will come. The chamber erupted in argument. Some council members shouted for protection of the princess. Others demanded Daniel's execution before the secret spread. The king raised his hand, silencing them all. His voice was deep, steady. Human. Are the elder's words true? Will this gift bring war? Daniel hesitated. The truth weighed heavy. Finally he spoke. Yes, if the galaxy learns what she can do, they will fear her. They will fear humans, and fear leads to war. Gasps filled the room. The princess clenched her fists, anger burning in her glowing eyes. So what? Should I return to blindness just to keep them calm? Must I crawl in darkness to make others feel safe? Her voice shook the chamber more than the king's. The elder slammed his staff on the ground. You see, your majesty? The human has already poisoned her mind. She speaks rebellion. She speaks war. Daniel stepped forward, his tone sharp. She speaks truth. You fear her strength because you cannot control it. But she is not a weapon. She is a person, and no empire, no council, has the right to chain her back into darkness. The king's eyes flickered between them, his daughter, glowing with new power, and the human who had given it to her. His silence was heavy. Then the princess suddenly gasped, clutching her head. Her vision blurred with strange lights no one else could see. Threads of energy twisted, pulling at her mind. She stumbled, and Daniel caught her. "What is it?" he whispered, her voice shook. "Ships. So many ships. Moving through the stars. I can see them, Daniel." "They are coming." The council erupted again. Fear spread like fire. The elder shouted, "Already the human's curse calls war upon us." Daniel looked at his device. The implants were expanding her senses far faster than he had imagined. She was not only seeing the world, she was reaching across space, sensing energy patterns of fleets in motion. He turned to the king. "She is right. A fleet is coming. Your enemies must have heard rumors already. They will want to destroy her before her gift becomes legend." The king's jaw tightened. His armor gleamed in the torchlight as he rose to his full height. His voice boomed. "Then let them come. We will not hide my daughter's sight. We will not bow to fear." The princess stood beside him, her eyes glowing brighter. "I will not be their victim. If they come for me, I will see them before they strike." The elder's face twisted with fury, but his voice was drowned out by the rising roar of the guards and council. Some cheered their princess. Others muttered of doom. The palace shook with division. Daniel knew the truth. The implants had given her more than sight. They had made her something new, something the galaxy was not ready for. And in the dark of space, far beyond their world, enemy warships glided closer, their weapons ready. The dark truth was clear now. Healing the princess was not the end. It was the beginning of conflict, of fear, of war that might burn across the stars. The alien palace no longer slept. Its halls buzzed with voices, and its windows glowed with torchlight through the night. Word of the princess's sight had spread across the city, and beyond the city, rumors already traveled with the speed of fear. On the highest balcony, the princess stood, her new eyes searching the skies. She did not need a telescope. She did not need instruments. The implants pulsed faintly blue, and her vision stretched farther than any natural sight could go. "I can see them," she whispered. Daniel Cross stood beside her, his arms folded, his gaze steady. "What do you see?" "Ships," she said softly. "Dozens, no. Hundreds. They move like shadows between the stars. They are not ours. They are coming here." Her voice trembled, but not with fear, only with awe. The gift of sight was still new to her, but now that gift revealed danger. Behind them, the king entered, his heavy steps echoing. His armor gleamed, his face grim. "The council has spoken," he said. "Half demand your removal, daughter. The other half would use you as a weapon. But none can deny what is coming." The princess turned to him. "Father, I will not hide. If the ships come, I will face them." The king studied her for a long moment. She was no longer the blind girl he had protected for years. She was becoming something else, something greater. But that greatness drew danger like fire drew moths. Daniel broke the silence. "Your enemies do not come for war alone. They come for her. To them, she is proof of forbidden human power. If they cannot capture her, they will destroy her. And they will destroy you to make sure the secret dies." The king's jaw tightened. "Then let them try." But Daniel shook his head. "You do not understand. These are not raiders. These are empires. Once the galaxy believes humans can make the blind see and more, they will see us as a threat to all balance. War will not stop at your world. It will spread." The princess stepped forward, her eyes glowing faint blue. "Then it begins with me. I will not let them take me. I will not let them blind me again." Suddenly, the air cracked with thunder. The palace walls shook. Alarms echoed through the city. Guards shouted from the towers. A messenger burst into the chamber, breathless. "Your Majesty, enemy fleet has entered orbit." "Their banners are clear. It is the Draven Empire." Gasps filled the room. Even the king's face darkened. The Draven were ruthless conquerors feared across the stars. Daniel's eyes narrowed. "Of course. The Draven want what no one else can have. If they take her, they will use her sight to rule the galaxy." The princess clenched her fists. Let them come. I will not bow to them. The king turned to Daniel. Human, you made this. You will help protect her. Do you have weapons? Defenses? Daniel shook his head. Not weapons. But I have knowledge. If she trusts me, we may find a way to survive. The princess nodded without hesitation. I trust him. The king studied her glowing eyes, then slowly nodded. Then so be it. We fight together. Outside, the night sky lit with fire. The first Draven ships fired on the city's defenses. Explosions shook the ground. Citizens screamed in the streets as towers crumbled. The war had begun. The council gathered in panic. Some shouted to surrender the princess to avoid destruction. Others called for battle. The elder's voice rose above them all. This is the humans' fault. Deliver him to the Draven and they may leave us in peace. Guards turned their eyes to Daniel. Hands tightened on weapons, but the princess stepped between them, her voice sharp. No, he is under my protection. Without him, I would still be blind. Without him, I would not be standing here. If you touch him, you touch me. Her voice cut through the hall like a blade. Even the elder faltered. The king raised his hand, silencing the room. Enough. We defend our world and we defend my daughter. Daniel leaned close to the princess. His voice dropped to a whisper. Listen carefully. Your implants, they are growing stronger. You can see energy. You may even be able to see their ships before they fire. If you focus, you can guide your people. Give them an advantage no one else has. Her eyes widened. I can try. She closed her eyes, though she did not need to anymore. The implants pulsed. Blue light rippled faintly across her temples. Slowly, her vision stretched beyond the palace, beyond the city, into the black sea of space. She gasped. I see them. Their weapons are charging. I see the energy before it fires. Daniel smiled faintly. Then tell your people where to strike. Moments later, alien commanders received her instructions. When the Draven fired, the city's defenses moved before the blasts even left their guns. For the first time, the Empire's firepower did not bring total destruction. Hope flickered in the chaos. But the Draven were relentless. More ships entered orbit. The sky burned brighter. The war was only beginning. The princess opened her eyes, sweat on her forehead. I can help, but I cannot stop them all. Daniel placed a hand on her shoulder. You don't have to stop them alone. But understand this. Every moment you use your gift, the galaxy learns of it. They will all come for you. The Draven are only the first. The king's voice rumbled like thunder. Let them come. We will not surrender, not now, not ever. The princess looked back at the burning sky. For the first time, she saw war with her own eyes, and she knew Daniel was right. This was not only her fight. This was the beginning of something far greater, something the galaxy would not forgive. The skies above Cleara were no longer dark. They burned with fire. The Draven fleet had surrounded the world, their massive warships blocking out the stars. Blue beams of plasma cut through the night, striking the planet's shields, shaking cities with every impact. From the palace balcony, the princess stood tall, her glowing eyes fixed on the heavens. The implants pulsed with faint light, expanding her vision far beyond what any telescope could see. Every ship, every cannon, every spark of energy lit up before her sight like stars in motion. They are moving in formation, she whispered.
3 on the east.
4 above the capital, their weapons charging again. Daniel Cross, the human engineer, typed quickly on his small device, translating her words into strategy. Tell your people where to strike. If they fire before the Draven, they may hold the line. She raised her voice firm and steady. Aim east. Shields ready above the capital. Her command echoed through the palace. Officers rushed to deliver orders. Moments later, the city's cannons blazed upward. Explosions tore through the void. A Draven cruiser broke apart, its burning wreckage falling like meteors across the sky. The guards and servants gasped. Some cheered. For the first time, the Draven had been stopped, but victory was short-lived. More warships pushed forward, their weapons glowing brighter. The ground shook as fresh blasts slammed into the city. Towers crumbled, fire swept through the streets, and screams filled the night. The king entered the chamber, his armor scarred but his stance unbroken. The people are fleeing. Our armies fight in the streets, but the Draven will not stop until the palace falls. The princess turned to him, her eyes blazing. Then let me lead them. I can see their attacks before they strike. I can guide our forces. The king's jaw tightened. He had always protected her, kept her hidden, kept her safe. But now he saw the truth. She was no longer a child to be sheltered. She was the light his people needed. "Go," he said at last. "The city will follow your voice." The princess stepped into the open courtyard, fire reflecting in her eyes. Hundreds of soldiers looked up at her, desperate for hope. She lifted her hand, her voice ringing out. "Stand strong. I will see for you. I will guide you. Tonight we do not fall." Her words spread like fire through the army. The people cheered. Soldiers lifted their weapons high. Daniel stood at her side, whispering urgently, "Be careful. The implants are pushing harder. They're showing you more than you're ready for. If you burn too fast," she cut him off, her voice sharp. "I would rather burn than bow." With that, she turned her eyes to the sky once more. The blue glow spread brighter, lines of energy sparking across her temples. She gasped as her vision stretched even farther. She could see not only ships, but the flow of their reactors, the weakness in their shields. "There," she cried, pointing. "Strike the center battleship. Its shield is cracked." Cannons roared from the city. Bolts of fire streaked upward, slamming into the massive Draven vessel. For a moment, the night turned brighter than day as the battleship exploded in a storm of fire. The ground shook. Soldiers roared with victory. But Daniel frowned. He saw the implants pulsing wildly, too bright, too fast. He touched her arm. "You're pushing beyond safe limits. If you keep this up, they'll consume you." The princess looked at him with fierce eyes. "Then let them consume me. If I fall seeing." The battle raged on. Streets burned, towers collapsed, but everywhere the princess's voice rang out, guiding her people. She moved through the palace like a beacon, her sight reaching into the sky, saving thousands with each command. Yet the Draven were not fools. Their admiral watched from the lead ship, his eyes narrowing. "So the rumors are true." "The blind princess now sees, and more than that, she sees us." He turned to his officers. "Target her. Burn the palace. If she survives, bring her to me alive. The galaxy must see her as ours." Moments later, the sky split open as the lead ship fired its largest cannon. A massive beam of energy ripped through the shields, striking the palace. The walls shattered, stone flying like dust. Daniel pulled the princess down just as the ceiling collapsed. Dust and fire swallowed the chamber. Guards screamed as they fell into the rubble. When the smoke cleared, the princess stood coughing, her dress torn, her hair streaked with ash. Her glowing eyes shone through the dust like twin stars. "They are coming for me," she whispered. Daniel nodded grimly. "Yes, and if they take you, they win. You must not let them." The king, bleeding but unbroken, dragged himself from the rubble. His sword glowed faintly in the firelight. "We will not surrender. Daughter, the people believe in you. Do not let them see fear." The princess stood tall, her implants blazing brighter than ever. She looked at the burning city below, then at the dark ships above. Her voice was steady, unshaken. "I see them. I see all of them. And I will not close my eyes." The soldiers around her raised their weapons once more. The people of Cleara roared with courage, and above them the war burned hotter. The miracle of sight had become a weapon. The princess, once blind, now stood at the center of a galactic firestorm. The war had truly begun. The sky of Cleara was no longer a sky. It was a battlefield. Burning ships drifted like broken stars while fresh war fleets poured in from the dark. The Draven Empire had come to claim the miracle of the princess's sight, and now the whole planet stood at the edge of ruin. In the heart of the broken palace, the princess stood tall on shattered stone. Her gown was torn, her skin streaked with ash, but her glowing eyes burned brighter than fire. The implants pulsed with blue light, alive, feeding her vision with more than sight. "I see them all," she whispered, her voice trembling but strong. "Every ship, every weapon, every soldier. They cannot hide from me." Daniel Cross, the human engineer, stood at her side, his device flickering with warnings. "The implants are overloading. If you push farther, they'll tear your mind apart." She looked at him, her gaze fierce. "If I stop, my people die. If I stop, the Draven win. I cannot close my eyes." Above them, the Draven Admiral's flagship loomed larger, its cannons glowing like suns ready to fire. His voice thundered across comms, carried through the air with cruel clarity. "Surrender the girl or watch your world burn." The king, blood on his armor, raised his sword high. His voice roared over the chaos. "We will never surrender. Not my daughter, not my people." The soldiers of Cleara cheered, though fear still haunted their faces. Hope flickered, fragile but alive. tied to the glowing eyes of their princess. The princess closed her eyes briefly, then opened them again. The world around her shifted. She no longer saw only ships and weapons. She saw rivers of energy flowing through space, the lifeblood of reactors, the hidden pulses of cloaked fleets. Her breath caught. Daniel, I can see the truth. Their flagship? Its core is unstable. If we strike it, the fleet will break. Daniel's face hardened. That kind of vision? It isn't possible. Not without, he stopped. He realized what the implants were becoming. Not tools, not medicine, evolution. The king turned to his daughter. If you can see their weakness, then guide us. Tonight we end this. The princess stepped forward, raising her hand toward the sky. Her voice rang out across comms, carried to every ship, every soldier. Strike the flagship. Aim for its heart. I can see it, I will guide you. The armies obeyed. Cannons roared upward. Missiles streaked through the burning night. Guided by her sight, every strike hit true. The Draven flagship shook under the assault, flames bursting from its sides. The admiral's voice snarled across the comms. Fools, you think a human trick can stop us? Fire everything. The flagship's cannons blazed, sending torrents of fire raining down. Cities exploded, towers fell, screams filled the air. But still the princess stood, her implants burning with unbearable light. She gasped, her knees buckling. Daniel caught her, fear in his eyes. You're killing yourself. Her voice was weak but unshaken. If I fall, then let me fall as their shield. I will not close my eyes now. She lifted her head once more, her glowing gaze piercing the sky. She saw the flagship's reactor, a storm of unstable energy ready to burst. She raised her voice sharp as steel. Now! Fire now! Every cannon on Cleara fired at once. Beams of fire and energy struck the flagship's core. For a heartbeat, the night went silent. Then the sky tore open. The Draven flagship exploded in a storm of fire so bright it blinded the heavens. The shockwave rippled across orbit, tearing through nearby warships, scattering the fleet into chaos. On the ground, soldiers roared with victory. The people of Cleara cried out in relief. For a moment, against all odds, they had survived, but Daniel did not cheer. His eyes were on the princess. She stood trembling, her glowing eyes fading, her body weak. He held her before she collapsed. The king rushed to her side, his voice breaking. Daughter!
Stay with us!
Her voice was faint, almost a whisper. I can still see, even with my eyes closed. I see more than ships, more than war. I see paths, futures, and I see danger, greater danger than the Draven. Daniel's heart sank. The implants. They've unlocked more than we imagined. The other empires will hear of this. They will not see a miracle. They will see a weapon. The princess opened her eyes, faint blue still glowing. Then let them see. Let them come. I will not hide. If war is coming, I will face it. With my people. With you. The king gripped his sword, pride and fear mixed in his eyes. Then the galaxy will know that Cleara does not bow. Not to Draven, not to anyone. The night sky burned with the wreckage of the Draven fleet, but beyond that wreckage, the galaxy stirred. Other empires watching from afar whispered of the blind princess who now saw the hidden truths of the stars. The miracle had saved a world. But it had also lit a fire that could not be contained. Daniel looked into the distance, his voice low. The war is not over. This was only the first strike. The princess raised her head, her glowing eyes fixed on the stars. Then let the galaxy come. I will not close my eyes again. And with that, the conflict of one world became the conflict of many. The princess had become more than a symbol. She had become the spark of galactic war.